大爷，这个韭菜是多少钱一斤
260块，我给算5毛。
大爷，你这一整是卖多少钱了？
卖有5块钱了。
您离这个大旗上有多远
？5里。
今年多大年纪了
？79。
您这到了享福的年纪了，怎么还在外边摆摊？
想拿了福怎么讲
？According to the 79-year-old vendor, he relies on selling vegetables and his pension to make ends meet. His monthly pension is 120 yuan, about $17, and he still needs to cut down on his expenses. When he gets sick, he pays his medical bills out of pocket. Recently, he spent thousands of yuan on treatment for back pain at a hospital in Linyi, Shandong. Regarding retirement, this elderly helplessly expressed he would keep working until he could no longer stand or work. Those academically termed the first generation of migrant workers were born in the 1970s and earlier, and started working away from home in the early 1980s to the 1990s. Chou Fenxian, an associate professor in the Department of Social Work and Sociology at Anhui Normal University, once conducted a survey. In her interviews with the first generation, what struck her was that few mentioned retirement. They mostly said they'd work until they couldn't. China is rapidly aging, and issues surrounding aged care are increasingly acute. In the past, during its one-child policy promotion, the Chinese government promised, "Have just one child and the government will take care of you in old age." However, once those who adhered to this policy reached retirement age, the slogan morphed into "Don't rely on the government for aged care." Indeed, China's one-child policy, implemented in the late 1970s, exacerbated the aging population crisis. Parents from the one-child era have now reached the retirement phase of their lives. Their offspring born under the one-child policy are middle-aged and burdened with huge workloads or unemployment pressures. They have to support both set of parents and sometimes even grandparents, causing overwhelming stress.
Many people say they don't see them around. Those born in the 80s or 90s, where are they? That's because they are always at the hospital. After accompanying their parents, they then take their children to the hospital. Many neglect their health, avoiding checkups, treatments, and medicines, bearing the brunt. If one of them collapses, several families could be devastated. Unemployment is even more tragic. Without a job, there's no income. Those with parents who have pensions can still rely on that. What is the anxiety for middle-aged people today? It's not knowing if they can survive tomorrow.
China will face its largest ever retirement wave in the next decade. The post-1960s generation is retiring at an average rate of 20 million people per year. According to the CCP's publication Bi-Monthly Forum, this stems from China's most significant baby boom since the founding of the CCP. Between 1962 and 1971, over 24 million babies were born annually. By 2022, the post-1960s generation will predominantly shift to retirement. As single children now become the workforce majority, the employed population shrinks and the elderly population grows, leading to pension funds being inadequate. Coupled with a sluggish economy and rising youth unemployment rates, this compounds China's pension issue. Recently, Chinese netizens have pointed out that around 38 million people in China have suspended their pension insurance, with a further 43 million completely withdrawing. Chinese independent journalist Gao Yu commented on a social media that this reflects an economic downturn and reduced wages. With many unable to make timely payments, such a situation not only deals a heavy blow to the already strained national fiscal revenue, but also risks a funding gap in the pension fund. It further exacerbates wealth disparities and societal inequality, posing risks to social stability. On the other hand, it underscores a recent economic downturn where reduced wages have made it challenging for many to keep up with payments. This also reflects the public's dissatisfaction with government public services and social investments, directly impacting their confidence in the pension system. Many fear they won't receive their due benefits upon retirement. Some netizens responded, suggesting that diminishing retirement payouts have significantly eroded the government's credibility. With the unpredictable nature of current societal factors, including the impact of the pandemic in recent years, many people feel overwhelmed. They believe it's safest to keep money in their hands, focusing only on their present living conditions. Ultimately, this reflects a lack of optimism about future economic prospects. China's social insurance systems encompasses pensions, healthcare, unemployment, workers' compensation, and maternity insurance. The Chinese pension system benefits consist of personal accounts and a basic pension. Personal accounts are funded through a mandatory payment plan, with pensions varying based on individuals' contribution. The basic pension follows a pay-as-you-go system, ensuring a fixed retirement fund is calculated as a percentage of the pre-retirement salary. However, there's a significant inequality in China's pension distribution, deeply intertwined with China's unique household registration system known as the hukou system. This system artificially divides Chinese citizens into either urban or rural residents. As a result, China's basic pension benefits are divided into two main categories: those for urban workers and those for rural residents. In the basic pension insurance for urban workers, there's a further distinction between institutional and enterprise workers, and the actual treatment of the two is extremely different. Take, for instance, the city of Yingtan in Jiangxi province. As per the official WeChat account, Yingtan Social Security, in January 2023, the average monthly pension for government employees was 5,080 yuan, around $700. In contrast, enterprise retirees received an average of 2,368 yuan, around $326, and rural retirees as a mere 207 yuan, around $29. In essence, the pension paid to government retirees is about 2.14 times more than the enterprise retirees and 25 times more than rural retirees. This isn't an isolated case. It's a prevalent situation nationwide. In Changchun, Jilin province, the average retirement benefit for government and public institution employees are approximately 5,480 yuan, around $755. For urban enterprise workers, it's 3,125 yuan, around $430. And for those covered by the urban and rural residents pension insurance, it's only approximately 133 yuan, around $18. This means government and public institution pensions are 1.8 times higher than those of enterprise employees and 41 times higher than rural residents. Currently, urban retirees in China receive an average monthly pension of 3,326 yuan, around $456. In contrast, the benefit for rural retirees are drastically lower, averaging only 179 yuan per month, which is less than $25. In the video, the speaker, Professor Zhen Fantian from Renmin University of China, mentioned that there are approximately 130 million rural elderly people aged over 60 in China. Their pensions are significantly lower than their urban counterparts.
我最近几年一直在呼吁，我说能不能把我们年满60岁老人，对吧？从目前的130过渡到300块钱，70岁老人，比如一个月给他500块钱，那或者80岁老人呢，那给他这个700块钱，就是实际上这个总的钱并不多，因为这实际上应该说是一个最大的惠农政策。
Liu Zhongyuan is a columnist for foreign policy and American news publication focused on global affairs and a research fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. She said that the CCP mandated state-owned enterprises to pay pensions starting from 1986. By the end of 2022, China's pension system has nearly achieved universal coverage, with about 1.05 billion insured, of which 549 million are covered by urban and rural residents' pension insurance. Aimed at rural residents or urban non-salaried residents, the number of uninsured people is about 350 million, most of whom are under 16 years of age. However, Liu believes that the CCP's pension system lacks inadequate support for the rapidly aging migrant worker population. Although many of the first generation of migrant workers in China have reached retirement age, they continue to work labor-intensive jobs due to their rural hukou, China's mandatory residential status. This status prevents them from enjoying better retirement benefits available to urban salaries workers, leaving them with inadequate social security payments averaging between 100 yuan, $14 and 200 yuan, $28 per month. The lack of sufficient pension support in rural areas has significantly delayed the retirement age of migrant workers and hindered young labor from joining the industries involved. In addition to the urban and rural distinctions in China's pension system, the system as a whole has a serious problem of not being able to cover expenditures. Veteran Chinese media professional Qiang, during an interview with Voice of America, stated that 70% of China's provinces have outlived their pension funds. Following the collapse of China's real estate economy and the sharp decline in local government fiscal revenue, a significant portion of medical insurance funds was diverted to construct makeshift hospital in the aftermath of the 3-year pandemic. The reduction in medical benefits is particularly concerning for the elderly, for whom medical insurance is crucial. Recently, the Chinese Communist Party introduced reform to the healthcare insurance system. The aim is to shift accumulated medical insurance saving from individuals to public accounts, raising the threshold for medical expenses reimbursements. The result is that the elderly have to pay much more out of pocket for medical consultations and medicines. It's reported that these reforms will affect over 300 million urban residents. Amidst the reduction of healthcare benefits for retired seniors, several cities in China have witnessed protest movement advocating for their rights. Protesters expressed their dissatisfaction and frustration by chanting slogans like "Down with the reactionary government" and singing the Internationale.
今天是2月15号上午10点22分钟，我们是8点多钟就来了。现在武汉市解放公园中山公园门口人山人海，起码有上10万人，警察好多，把路都拦住了。
In February of this year, a large-scale protest by retirees erupted in Wuhan, demanding that the authorities roll back measures to reduce health benefits. Viral videos indicate that a massive police force was deployed to maintain order at the protest site and its surroundings. It rumored that many were detained by the police. On the same day as the Wuhan protest, thousands of retirees gathered at People's Square in Dalian, a northeastern port city, to protest against cuts to their medical benefits. On August 23rd, retired individuals held a rally in Guangzhou to demand their pension payments, with police on site to maintain order. Due to the drastic reduction of retirees' health insurance benefits in Guangzhou, there have been ongoing public protests advocating for their rights since December 2022. According to a retired worker from Guangzhou, Mr. Lin, starting from December of the previous year, the medical insurance amount was cut from 320 RMB, approximately $44 to 160 RMB, roughly $22, a reduction of 2/3. Mr. Lin explains, "We retirees have been consistently contributing to medical insurance. We all purchase this health insurance before retiring, and the state should abide by the contract. This isn't a fiscal allocation. Our social and medical insurances are entirely funded by our employers and ourselves, incorporated into company cost. Transferring funds from our medical insurance account is not only illegal, but also a breach of contract." He also said many of us elderly people rely on this small amount of money as a lifeline. We use it to buy medicine at the pharmacy, so we avoid going to the hospital. With the new policy, the 160 yuan, approximately $22, is so little that it's not even enough to buy face masks. Going to the hospital costs more than what's given to us, and we're left to pay out of pocket. There are still many people retiring with a salary of only 1,000 to 2,000 yuan, roughly $137 to $275. Li Henqing, an economist from the Institute of Information and Strategy, told Voice of America that there is widespread dissatisfaction among the Chinese public due to inadequate medical insurance benefits. Now that people are taking to the streets, this issue is unlikely to settle down easily, he noted. Li continued, this directly affects the livelihood of ordinary people. The deducted funds, including the increased reimbursements, are the people's own money. How can the government forcibly take it away? It's fundamentally unjust, but the central government has made it clear that they're out of money, so they're taking your money without negotiation. According to the 7th National Census of China, the population aged 60 and above is 264 million, accounting for 18.7% of the total population. Those aged 65 and above account for 190 million, making up 13.5%. Compared to 2010, the proportion of people aged 60 and above has increased by 5.4 percentage points, indicating a deepening aging trend in China. China's National Health Commission estimates that by 2035, the elderly population aged 60 and above in China will exceed 400 million, constituting over 30% of the total population, marking a significant aging phase. Zhou Xiaochuan, former governor of the People's Bank of China, stated in a forum at the end of February that by the end of 2021, China's various pension funds totaled 11.8 trillion yuan, approximately $1.6 trillion US dollars, accounting for about 10% of China's GDP. This is much lower than the 50% to 100% in most countries. In another report, China's Pension Actuarial Report 2019 to 2050, issued by the Center for International Social Security Studies at the Chinese Academy of Social Science, project that by 2035, China's pension funds might be depleted. But the real situation might be more severe than the 2019 report suggested. Liu Zhongyuan expressed that the CCP is well aware of the demographic challenges facing China, but they might not be fully prepared for the urgency and severity of this issue. She pointed out that in 2019, when the report was released, China had not yet experienced prolonged lockdowns due to the pandemic. Foreign companies had not accelerated their departure from China, and local government hadn't exhausted resources on extensive virus testing projects. As China faces an aging population, the government has recently been actively encouraging those in their 50s and 60s to re-enter the workforce. Analysts believe this is due to the substantial pension fund gap, prompting authorities to prolong retirement and reintroduce near retirees into the labor market. However, the analysis indicate that even if encouraging older workers to take up employment can bridge the pension gap, many will likely take up non-labor intensive jobs. The very position younger individuals seek, but for which there are no job vacancies. Thus, promoting employment among the elderly may exacerbate youth unemployment in China. Presently, the unemployment rate among Chinese youth has consistently reached new highs, exceeding 21%, far above the average of 10.5% in OECD countries. The CCP has even decided to stop publishing these figures. In the long run, as the youth unemployment rate rises and wage-earning individuals decreases, contributions to the pension fund will also diminish. This presents a significant challenge that the Chinese government needs to, but may struggle to, address.